Hey Bob, good to see you, man.
Good to see you. How's life in COVID?
Oh man, this is the highlight right here. This is the highlight.
Maybe we're out of it. I don't know. We'll find out.
It's coming. It's coming. I think. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. They just shut down parts of Europe and they're getting ready to shut down Germany and Czech Republic and Italy's complete shutdown because apparently the new strain is a killer. I don't know. I'm ready to be done with it. I'm almost ready to, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say I'm almost ready to just get COVID and be done with the fucking thing. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like 1 in 5 people. Like my downstairs neighbor had a bunch of friends who went to a party. I guess like 6 months ago or something, and they just didn't give a fuck. They
Yeah.
just went ahead and partied, and she said they all got it. She said they all got this is my like roundabout research that I do, right?
Right,
So
right, right.
she said they all got it, and there were like 8 or 9 of them who all got it.
Wow.
And of the 8 or 9 of them, they all got sick, like the flu, but
Yep.
one of them got like one of them, and the guy was like an Orange County Republican guy.
Yeah.
Who he didn't come out and admit afterward how bad it was, but his wife said it was way worse than the flu. Like he said it was like he was sick for 2 weeks, but he was really sick for like 3.5 weeks, and she thought he was like near death. Like
Yeah, I've that's what I've heard. I think everybody tries to underplay it. I mean, apparently Trump was really bad off and didn't admit it.
I heard that as well. So you might not want to just get it, but I, you never know. I mean, if you're going to
No,
be
I
that
know.
one person who,
I know, and I know people who had family members die, so it's like
oh
I know it's
shit,
real. I know it's real, but it's annoying.
it's fucking
But
annoying. It's funny that in a way that's comically tragic that it's not bad enough to be like, it's not bad enough that enough people take it seriously,
right,
and it's just bad enough that it irritates the shit out of us.
right.
Right. So it's like that Chinese water torture or something,
Yeah, exactly.
death by
It,
1,000 cuts.
uh, it's like, yeah, I'm just like slice it already. Just freaking slice my neck, take off the arm. Let's just move forward.
You could be like Burgess, or no, Edward. What's his name? Edward G. Robinson in Soylent Green, where you just want to go home.
Oh yeah, exactly. And have some green crackers. Exactly. What a freaking mess. But
Well,
you know,
how's tax season? That's a good opening. That's
oh my
a good
God.
follow up to since we're setting the set list here. COVID
Well,
tax season.
you know, it's crazy because they just changed the rules. So everybody filed, a lot of people, 77 million people filed tax returns with unemployment benefits that are now not taxable. So now they're trying to figure out what to do because
There's no revenue. There's no revenue.
well, I mean, they don't want people amending returns, but they haven't changed the tax form. So now everybody that we haven't filed, we're just holding. And then everybody that we did file, we're trying to wait to see what we're going to have to do.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So people who already filed are probably in good shape because they're, what are you going to do? Come back and tell somebody, oh, we changed the tax laws afterward. You do owe us.
No, they'll actually owe less. It's exempt. So people filed and paid taxes on this money, they're actually going to get a refund.
Oh, wow. Hey,
Yeah.
Bob Wheeler bringing us good news in the No Idea Zone. That's what we
right.
do here.
That's right.
We don't just fail. We don't just ethically fail here at the No Idea Zone. We also have good news.
Good
And
news.
You might not get it in the mainstream news or in your QAnon
But you get it here.
videos, but shit. That's fucking awesome. That's great.
It's totally cool. But the thing is, you can't get your 1,400 if you don't file the tax return. Well, now if you've got unemployment, you didn't file, you can't file until we figure out what the IRS is going to do. So you can't have your 1,400.
Wow.
It's a cluster. It's an F up. So
it is, man. All I could say is God is a character. Whatever his plans are, I don't know. But fucking weird. And Yaphet Kotto passed away yesterday. Did you see that? Do you know?
Oh,
were you real?
Oh yeah, I did. I saw that. Yeah.
That's sort of, our my childhood, probably your adolescence. I don't know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I saw your nice tribute to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
He was special, man. He was special. There was something about him.
Well, Well, those character actors are always the ones that bring the depth to the characters, not
Right.
not the big names.
Well, you put these interesting people around these sort of pretty people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's kind of the formula. Am I wrong?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I was always the before picture.
You're gonna be that character actor guy. You're gonna be that albino Bob Hoskins, you know?
That's right. Everybody's like, "You're interesting." I'm like, that sounds good. Now I'm just like, yeah, I'm the interesting looking guy.
Do you still let me ask you about this. Do you still okay, so have you been doing okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce this guy. Let me give this guy a proper intro. Because we know this is disorganized, but let me get this guy. So this is a guy I've known or would say been acquainted with for many years. And in our passings, I encountered him very early on in my comedy life. But as with everybody, you're the main character in your own universe, but
Yeah.
everybody has a whole story that they're dealing with that hopefully we're going to unpack some of. This guy he's an accountant. He's a CPA. Are you a CPA?
CPA, CPA.
CPA, somewhat of a numbers genius, as we'll get into, and a stand-up comedian for 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, and Booker of shows, producer of comedy shows all around
Okay.
Los Angeles. My buddy, the very funny and bright Bob Wheeler. Welcome to the No Idea Zone, dude.
Good to be here. I have no ideas.
Well, you may think you have no ideas, but obviously you've had some more ideas than some other people. So there are people with fewer ideas than you.
Oh, well, that's good to know. That's good to know. But there are no new ideas, but so they say. But I don't know if that's true. I have no
Well, you
idea.
just brought the new ideas. You just brought some new shit here that we didn't know. Certainly, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I'm relieved that I filed my tax return,
yeah. But did you
and
have an unemployment?
I'm gonna get my 1400. I'm gonna
You're
get
going to
my
get your 1400.
right, and
And if you had unemployment,
and
you're going to get a refund
I
later.
had some. I had some.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
I'll
You'll get
get
a small refund.
I'll get a small refund. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob. Well,
Yay.
that's our show, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
man. Bringing money and joy wherever I go.
Well, I don't want to. This would be a perfect time to segue into another a little birdie that sat on my shoulder and whispered in my ear and told me that Bob Wheeler, whose name is on the wall, he is a regular at the world
I am a
famous
paid
comedy.
regular as well as the CFO.
You're a paid regular and the CFO. How long have you been the CFO at the Comedy Store?
Oh my God. Probably since I don't know, about 2005, 2004. Mitzi liked me and put me on the books early. She put me on the wall and on the books. So
Okay, but what I heard was, and you can clear up the rumors.
uh-oh.
I heard that you saved the Comedy Store in the 90s. That you
Wait,
came in and did some fucking book. You know what? I don't know what
yeah,
the literary
well,
term.
that's too funny. Well, look, everybody's taking turns saving the store, but I did have a couple of shots at it. When Mitzi called me, it's funny that you asked this. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but when Mitzi called me, the store owed about $100,000 in payroll taxes,
What year?
and
What year?
97. And Mitzi called me up and she's like, "This is Mitzi Shore. You got to come help us out. You got to save the store." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I just want to be a comic, Mitzi." She's like, "No." And so anyway, so I'm like, "All right, let me go meet with her." And of course, I love Mitzi. So I was terrified of her, but I love her. And, yeah, they had all this, everything was a mess. And the bookkeeper, who was really the only person at the store at that point, because Becker and all these people were gone, and Mitzi wasn't, in her best
Who
of
was
health.
gone? You got to back up. 'Cause
Like there was Becker was like sort of ran the store. He was like the manager on the inside, administratively. Everybody was gone, and there was just one bookkeeper, and basically a lawsuit would come in, he'd take it and throw it in a box and put it in the corner. IRS notice would come, he'd take it and throw it in a box. So like there was just this pile of unaddressed legal and financial issues. And yeah, so because I'm a CPA, I went to the bank and came up with this great, I have this great plan. We're expanding the store, and here's what we're going to do. And I need to borrow this much money. I knew it was to pay taxes, but they were like, "Oh, this is great. They've got somebody in. You seem smart, blah, blah, blah." And just because I was a CPA, we were able to get a nice loan and uh, pay off all the debts and keep the doors open because they were literally ready to chain the doors. I mean, it was bad. Uh,
Wow.
you
And,
know,
and that was 1997.
yeah.
You
And
know, you had the opportunity to there to go, hey, I will save you, but
yeah,
here's the deal. Like
stage time.
stage time, my name on the wall.
Exactly.
And you did get your name on the wall.
I did. Hopefully I earned it, but
You
uh,
fucking earned it, Bob. You
I
fucking
did.
earned it.
I did.
You
It's
saved the
there.
place. The place wouldn't
It's
be
there.
open.
It's open
It
and
would
it's
be a
there.
fucking strip club right
It
now.
could be. If Polly had his way, it would probably be a strip club. A lot of pole dancing, you know, amateurs up in the belly room. It'd be good.
Amateurs up in the belly room. You know what? $2 for $2 you can go up and
And strip.
no. Oh, you're paying to strip. It's a pay to play.
Exactly. Exactly. I love
Oh
it.
man, Bob, you've got some really creative business ideas. We should talk after
Hey,
this.
we should
In
like.
the era of the Me Too movement, I don't know if this will fly, but
Well,
if
that might not. Well, hey, I didn't say I was gender specific. I mean, everybody has an opportunity
oh,
to do their bit.
we could have a gender fluid strip club, is what you're saying. Just
Absolutely.
all kinds of
Absolutely.
different
Something for
trans,
everybody. Little
something for everybody, and
people
surprises, Bob.
and
Surprises.
surprises, and lots of popcorn.
What's more fun than a good surprise stripper? Like,
Ex- like, what's in the box?
what if there is a box at all?
Exactly.
This is the kind of
Exactly.
crude humor. No Idea Zone. This is the kind of crude humor that made Bob Wheeler a legend at the Comedy Store
Exactly.
and got his name on the wall. He earned it with these kind of crude.
These dirty that only you would understand because I was. I'm like,
I'm pretty
yeah,
dirty.
they're pretty dirty.
I'm right there with you. But see, people expect me to be dirty. They look at me and
That's
expect it. With you, Bob,
I know. I'm clean cut. I'm not supposed to cuss. It's
no,
when I do the
no.
dirty stuff, people are like, you shouldn't do that.
Now, was there a time where people could look at you and think this guy's a wicked guy, or did this clean cut accountant thing evolve over time?
Well, it's funny. I think that I've always sort of had that look of like, I mean, look, my cousin and I used to get in all kinds of trouble, and they would always blame him, and they would go, "Bob's an angel. He angel have stolen that car." But I'm like, yeah, it was my cousin did it. And I actually didn't steal it. I just helped him get it back. But yeah, I mean, but my humor is true story. But
Oh, really? Oh, I thought
oh,
that would have been a really funny way to say I didn't steal it. I just relocated it for
I
him.
just borrowed it. We just borrowed it for some time. Um, yeah, there were a couple cars, but anyway. But no, my humor's dark, and so people would be like, "Oh my god, that's really dark." I'm like, I go dark, man. I go dark. I like dark. Um, so yeah, but it's yeah. I mean, people want though me to be a little bit nicer and a little more Disney esque.
Yeah.
But that's just
But you could be, like Saget, you could be cast as you could just because you have a dirty
exactly,
act doesn't mean you can't be cast as the clean
and
guy.
then be a foul mouth at night.
You could be the best of both worlds, Bob. You really.
Exactly, exactly.
Um, Now, did you ever would you're a married man, right?
I am at this point. I am single.
You're single. Were
I
you
am.
married? Were you married?
In the past,
Okay. How
yes.
long have you been single?
Um, 15 years.
So in the past, so since I've known you, basically you've been single.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many, I want you to talk about the greatest, and this is just coming to me now. I had no plan for this.
All right.
The greatest times that you've been laid from your dark act. That a few times where you got some action you didn't deserve.
Gosh, it's funny. I don't. I'm trying to. I think people usually ran from me when I did my dark stuff. I'm trying to. I don't know that I was. Some guys are so good at parlaying their acts into great nights of tension release, and God, I'm trying to.
All right, just give me one, Bob. Just give me
Um,
one. There had to be one.
oh my God, I'm so, like such a. That's so funny. I'm like.
This is what I do. I don't have any idea what I'm going to ask till I ask it, but I just have to ask that because I want to be able to picture that. And
Oh
that's how
my,
lonely I am in this pandemic. I want to be able to think about you sleeping with like Katie Holmes or a young like Scarlett Johansson, like getting some action. And I
I
know
think
the audience wants that too.
yeah, mine would probably be more like a Margaret Cho.
Fine, fine.
uh, um, I'm just, oh my God, I'm drunk. That's so funny. I don't recall. Probably it would have been when I was, when I was doing like the Tribble runs up in,
Okay, okay.
up in the pit.
Now we're
Um,
getting somewhere.
let's,
First, you think about this, and I'll explain what the Tribble Run is while you're
okay.
meditating on
You
your.
know, okay, I will tell a story. I tell the Tribble run. I'll tell you this
Okay,
terrible story that
Tribble
I've
Run,
never
real
shared.
quickly. A Tribble Run, which I only did once, and it was one of the most horrible experiences I ever had. Uh, I mean, we went into a town that looked like a mining town from a serial killer movie. Me and this other comic
Yeah,
is just there. These towns that were left behind in Middle America
yeah,
that just you kind of wonder if you're going to be eaten by cannibals when you go
yeah.
into these towns. And they have these one-nighters and weekends, and they set up a big show at the local motor lodge or the local I don't know, like Super 8 motel or whatever.
Or
Uh,
somebody's bar.
right, or some dive bar. And a dive bar would be a big, usually it's like the ones we went into were desolate motel type things.
Yeah.
And they'd have a conference room that had no windows that they could open and had a musty smell like they'd been cooking fish 25 years ago and they never aired it out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, it's
so
well, I actually, to a Tribble run, I was at a club one night. Everybody in the audience had lost their driver's license. Nobody could drive because they had all had DUIs. So there were like 60 people in the crowd. They had all walked to the bar for comedy because nobody had a driver's license.
oh my God, was it a theme part of the show? Was that part of the theme?
It was no, it was just like everybody in the town. Nobody had a driver's license, like except the sheriff maybe. But it was some scary places up there. I think there's a lot of southern inbreeding up in parts of Oregon. I'm from the South, so I recognize inbreeding. But
So okay, so where did this take place? First of all, do you remember the town?
oh, where the drunks were.
No, the town that this story you're gonna.
Oh, the story that I'm gonna tell. It was in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. That's
And this was a while ago, and people probably think I'm a horrible person after this. But yeah, so what happened was afterwards I met this couple, and a friend of mine was there, and we were all hanging out, and the this is so terrible. Anyway, so the guy was sort of being a jerk, like he's like, oh, you think you're all that and this and that, but his wife wife was like, thought I was really cool and all this stuff, and was sort of into me. And then everybody wanted to like go to another bar, and so I was like, well, I'm not quite ready. And the wife said, yeah, I'm not quite ready either. Like, let's just catch one more drink. You guys go on to the other bar and we'll catch up later. But we never met up with them later. And I partially did it because I was like, that guy's a jerk. I mean, I'm gonna,
bullshit, Bob. Only partially. Only partially.
So so I hooked up with this woman, and then to make things worse is the next morning I realized I'd left my wallet had fallen out in her car.
That's
And
fucking
so
excellent. That's excellent.
I
Like
had to call her
sideways.
back
This is
and
like a
say,
sideways story.
oh, it was very uncomfortable. My friend never spoke to me again. Yeah, it was. Then she was ready to move to LA and live a life of luxury with.
Oh, that does happen. That does happen.
I'm like, it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna go well. But
Was she contacting you afterward to like?
yeah, yeah, no, she was ready to leave her husband. She was like, you're. I guess I was that amazing. In one night, or she was really desperate for anything. So
Maybe a combination of both.
maybe a combination. Yeah, I've never shared that story.
That's what happens here. That's what I'm like Howard
Oh,
Stern. I
wow.
bring this out of my guests, you know.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That was awesome. That was awesome. So when you got the wallet back, come on, because this is
Yeah.
really the big punch of the story.
Yeah.
You had to go get the wallet back. Who did you call? Her?
I had to call her.
And then she got the wallet and met you out and
Yeah.
kind of gave you the handoff.
Yeah. And then she's like, I'll call you. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Sure. Yeah. It was, yeah, not my finest hour, but.
Oh, Bob, that would have been a lot of men's finest hour.
That's probably true. Hey, and she didn't take any of my money out of the wallet, which I probably only had about 40 bucks.
She really liked you.
She didn't take the credit card. She didn't run a credit check. She just.
I mean, she was looking at you like a Russian mail order bride would look
That's
at
right.
an American. She was looking at you like her life raft, man.
That's right. Coming to save the day. You know, the wallet in the car, though, was just sort of hard to deny that that anything had happened.
I think the larger thing to take away from this, if we want to take away some wisdom from the story, never, as bad as you think your life is, never underestimate how bad someone else's life is.
I think that's true.
That person, that woman, like she looked at your life like it was a thing to be had.
Yeah.
You know, and you're probably looking at your life like, what the fuck did I do with my life?
Oh my God, where is my life?
Right. And it's just so funny, man. It's just so be grateful, I guess, is the lesson of this.
The grass is always greener.
Yeah.
So
was there any grass, or was it
there's
the lawn? Was there no lawn?
There was grass. There was grass.
There was grass. Because it's Wyoming or wherever the fuck.
That's right. It was yeah.
Yeah.
The bay.
That's a beautiful story, Bob. That's a beautiful story. You know, we started out with the store. We worked our way to taxes, or did we start off with taxes? We started off.
I think we started off with taxes.
Worked our way to the store, which I always wanted to know about, and I saved. And then we get this story. I mean, this is like a catastrophic set list.
This is my life. It would not be a bestseller, but it might be interesting.
It's definitely interesting.
It's definitely interesting.
Bob also, I want to point out, has a podcast called Money You Should Ask.
Yep.
As in Funny You Should Ask, which I appeared on last year or 2 years ago or whatever. I can't even tell.
Yeah, I think it was about a year and a half. Yeah, pre-COVID.
Yes, and we're going to plug that. But I also want to point out how we met, you and I.
Yep.
Was that I was probably 25 when I moved to LA. I had just turned 25, and I was coming up to a club that we won't name, but let's just say it's in the Valley. And it was one of, like, you know, there weren't a lot of clubs out here then. There was no Flapper, there was no J Spot, there was no Comedy Union yet. And Bob, you had been entrusted, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you had been entrusted with sort of booking. The one thing that this owner either was lazy or knew that he didn't know comedy well enough, and he had entrusted you to book all week. You were the guy who booked the week's.
I booked a couple nights a week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
no, that was
Yeah, and in those days, like, this is the wildest thing is looking back now, is like, I was a new comic. I could just show up and say hi, and you'd put me on.
Yeah.
You'd put me on. And at that time and at that age, I don't think I appreciated it the way I appreciate it now, looking back.
Yeah, well, that was, you know, for me, I loved being able to help people out. People that, you know, some people were assholes about getting spots or, you know, being real dicks, and people that were nice about it, you know, hey, if I could squeeze people in, I always tried.
Yeah. And I thought you booked them all.
No, I just booked a couple nights. He had a couple of different people booking different things, so it wasn't all on one person, since he was taking all of our energy.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I was lucky to just be the comic and not have
to. Yeah, you were. I think absolutely. Sometimes it's nice just to be the comic.
Were you getting paid for it?
No. And it's interesting. I got to keep half of the door on Friday nights, but what he would do at this unnamed club he would sell a bunch of VIP tickets on the side and then ask us to comp them in because, you know, they were friends of his. And then we didn't know that he had already collected a few $100 extra because he was just, he would nickel and dime everybody. Like, it's like, dude, really? Really? But yeah, so we did, I got to split the door of whatever was officially counted.
How long did that go on? You were
About
there.
a year and a half.
2000, 2003, 2002, 2004, or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. And I mean, look, the stage was great. I did love that stage.
It was a fun little club.
I really did. I really liked that club. But, you know, and now it's at a new location. So,
Yes, yes. So you really want to put the dots together, you can. Um, I had my own experiences there,
yeah.
which didn't last long. And I think my lesson, what I kind of learned from you was there was a period where I was going up there and you were putting me on. And I think I was, because I was young and a little arrogant, a little entitled, I was assuming I deserved that and that should be the standard.
Right.
And one day I showed up to that club and you were no longer there. And I was like, but I'm getting on here, right? And the new guy was like, I don't know who the fuck you are. And I remember having the conscious thought of, holy fucking shit, am I gonna have to go through this every time?
Yeah.
You know? And I think it made me appreciate you because I could see that you were jaded and frustrated with the comedians who are coming at you. And I didn't quite know the owner and how bad he was and that you were dealing with that too. But there was a little growing up thing when you left there that I didn't last there long. I maybe a week later, I ended up at full time at Mixed Nuts Comedy Club. I was going to that club.
That's a great club. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had a job in the Valley. I had a job in Glendale. So right after I'd get off work, I would drive to, the Valley, the North Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I'd be right there. It was easy. But but after that I was like, oh fuck this. I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. So
no, it's crazy. And it's hard being a booker. It's funny. I won't name who the person is. They're famous now. And they're actually, as they got more famous, they actually became nicer. But when they weren't so famous, they were not so nice. And I remember this person came up and I was booking the show in the Belly Room. And we had some agents there that night. And we had a packed house because I used to pack out the Belly Room. And
how long did you book the show in the Belly Room, just real quick?
I think I did that for about 3.5 years.
Once a week?
Yeah. Thursday nights. Good Humor Bar was my show. Okay. And we'd pack out, we'd get agents and stuff like that. So we'd get really top-notch comics because we had agents and people that would, I got my first agent from that one of those shows. But this guy came up and said, hey, listen, I really would like to do your show, blah, blah, blah. And somebody said, Bob, hey, can you do him a favor? And I'm like, okay, but you got, I need to put you forth. And he's like, I want to go in the number 3 spot. That's the best spot. And I'm like, okay, but I have all these comics that I've already booked and you just showed up and I'm sort of doing you a favor and you're going to have to go 4th or 5th and you only get to do 10 minutes max. And so he's like, wow, well, you're sort of a dick. And I'm like, it's my show. So I entered and I was hosting that night. So I bring him up and he spends the first 5 minutes of his 10 minutes saying, can you believe this dick of a host? This guy is such a jerk. He thinks he's so important that he gets to decide the lineup. And he made me go 5th just to show and I'm like, really, dude? You just spent 5 minutes of your 10-minute set telling me what I'm an asshole I am, and then you want me to book you again? Is that the gig? I was like, that's the kind of stuff.
That's pretty bad. I don't think I was ever. I mean, even now I'm a headliner and I have PTSD. I'm like, can I ask where I can go on? Like I'm the opposite of that guy.
Yeah.
Like, do I really have can I say, hey, I want to go on here or there? Wow, that's pretty crazy. That guy must have had a really easy path.
Yeah, well, I mean, and like since then he's had some big life obstacles and he's on a lot of TV shows. And the thing I used to, this is how annoyed I was. For years I thought, I hope someday I write a TV show and I get to be in on the casting, and I want to call him in and have him audition for 2 or 3 different parts and then say, denied, 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 just because I was pretty pissed.
That reminds me of a story about the guy who played Lou Grant. What was Ed
Oh,
Asner, I
Ed
think.
Asner. Yeah.
Ed Asner. So, and I just heard this story secondhand, but so when he had had just first started, he got booked on some show as a young actor, and he had worked with the actress at the time was the star
Yeah.
of the show, and she had treated him so badly, and he never forgot it. And when he did Mary Tyler Moore show, and then he got his own show, his spinoff show, Lou Grant.
Right, right,
And he
right.
called that actress in. He called that actress in and gave her a role and gave her a part on the show.
Oh, wow.
Where he's throwing pie on her head over and over. How many takes are they doing of this?
Oh, my God.
And over and over again.
That is awesome.
That's awesome. I would have just did what you did. I would have dangled the part in front of her and then gone, no, but he wanted to put pie in her face. It was written into the scene. So when he saw the scene, he went, oh, this is perfect for her. Let's find her
in. Bring her in. I like that. That's you get to release a little bit of frustration directly.
Yeah, and it's nice because and then she still gets the job, right?
Right.
Which at that point in her career was probably a big highlight for her.
It's still a win-win, and she got some pie. You know what I mean?
Oh, she got a lot of pie. That's right.
She got a lot of pie.
Whatever she could catch in her mouth.
Oh man,
shit, man,
that's too funny.
So okay, so we went through. So you saved the store. You saved the store that time.
Yeah.
And then you 2004-5. You got your name on the wall.
Yeah. I got the name on the wall, and that was really cool. I think the hardest thing about being like helping run the store and being a comic is, you have a great set, and I walk off stage, and as soon as I walk off and people are, yay, woo, you, and then somebody's like, hey, there's a health inspector downstairs. Can you just come downstairs? I'm like, really? Can I just, for 5 minutes, receive a little bit more of my drug?
What you're saying is you couldn't really enjoy it as much because but you were also kind of there because they needed you to do that stuff. Yeah. There weren't a lot of adults in the building, so not that I wanted to be an adult. I fought it my whole life, but What was like? If you can't talk about this is fine. But I've always wondered what the relationship that Pauly Shore has there, and couldn't he? I don't know him, but couldn't he, like, if he really wanted to, just run that place and no. No, he's actually he moved to Vegas, so he's oh, okay. The other brothers run the club, so that's probably all I can say. The store went through some dark times, man. I mean, when I moved to LA, I was told stay away from the store. I was told by people who were reliable, told me stay away from the store. The guy who runs it is, and not the family, but the guy who was running it at the time was a really bad guy. Mm-hmm. You were there. I mean, how did you kind of cope with that and deal with that? Well, look, the Comedy Store comedy is always on the edge of darkness anyway. Like the Comedy Store just embraces it, I think. They just own that fact. That's why it's a big black building. You know what I mean? It's like darkness lives here, and on the other side is humor. But no, look, it was tough. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I loved Mitzi. I jokingly used to say, if she had asked me to drive us off a cliff, I probably would have considered it, just because she was very charismatic, and I got to have a personal relationship with her, and I really, really, I just really loved the store. And so even though there was a lot of darkness, and even though sometimes we could not even cash $15 checks for comics and had to pay cash for alcohol because there was like nothing. Man, wow. It was rough. That. People don't realize the underbelly behind the veneer, No, there were like 2 or 3 times we would have,
they hate that I used to use this, but I had a spreadsheet. I called it the Death March. And I would figure out how many months we had to go before we had to completely shut down because we were completely taxed. And yeah, so I'd be like, well, it looks like June's going to be our last month. And then something would happen and we'd get a little bit of money. All right, we're going to make it till January.
That's fucking great, man.
Oh my God. It was, well, you know, it's interesting. One of the things Mitzi told me one time that she's like, Bud Friedman, and, you know, I'm sure this is somewhat knowledge, I hope, but
Bud Friedman owned the Improv for people who don't.
Bud Friedman owned the Improv, and Mitzi would say he hates me, and I'm like, no, you're imagining it. And she's like, no. He actually went in and tried to buy the Comedy Store when Mitzi was just renting it back in the day. And he went in to buy it so he could put the Comedy Store out of business. And so Mitzi, you know, went and talked to the owner and said, you can't sell the building to Bud because he just wants to put me out of business. He's mad because I got the Comedy Store in a divorce and his wife got the comedy club, the Improv in New York in a divorce settlement. So he's out to get me. And the guy said, fine, go get the money. I'll sell you that building. And so she did. And Union Bank lent her line of credit. But no, Bud, like they did not appreciate a woman having a club in Los Angeles and a successful club. So there was a lot of back and forth over the years between if you perform at the Improv, you can't perform at the store. And there's just all kinds of silliness that went on instead of just, but everybody's a comic.
If you were Richard Pryor or Robin Williams.
Then you got to pass.
Because that was for people, just to be clear, that was for people who needed the store, the Improv, more than the store or the Improv needed them. Right. It always works in show business and any business, but especially in show business, right?
Yeah. And if you go, I wasn't around for the strike, but there was craziness. You know, Jay Leno was siding with the Improv, but it was trying to get the comics to unionize against the store because she wasn't paying comics. You know, they were getting stage time. But it wasn't like she was, and that's the thing is I think people thought the Comedy Store was making millions of dollars at the time. It was just getting by. She mortgaged her house. She did everything to keep that club alive because that was her love and joy, pride and joy.
Give me an idea about your spreadsheet. And I would never ask another human being about a spreadsheet. My father's an accountant and I've never asked him about a fucking spreadsheet. Until now, I've never asked anybody about a spreadsheet. But give me an idea of the dates of the Comedy Store Death March.
Oh my God. That was probably, it was probably about 2005 to 2007.
So you were dealing directly with that guy who was running the store, whose name we won't mention.
Yeah. I was dealing with all of them. You know, I think I was fortunate that I had enough of a likability factor that I was able to navigate through all the stuff and not get too freaked out if people are a little bit too shitty. You learn to work it all.
Well, it certainly is. I know you say that it's a good way you put it. Like the Comedy Store just embraces the darkness, but clear. I mean, I've been out here a long time. I could see the transformation the Comedy Store made in like the late 2000s or whenever that guy got axed. I don't know if it had to do with him specifically or the new people running it were good or what they exactly did, but it's a booming. I mean, it
is. We've been fortunate. You know, look, I think there are a lot of people that, and comics do this, everybody does it, but I think comics to a degree are self-sabotaging. And I think there are a lot of people there that just embrace darkness and self-sabotage and kept the club from actually reaching its potential. And slowly, this person goes away, that person goes away, and organically, when you can sort of flush out a lot of the stuff that needed to go, things start to thrive.
Cool. Well, tell me about your stand-up. Let's get into your stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you are a dark stand-up comedian
mm-hmm.
who has the Bob Saget, innocent, kind-looking guy thing. Has that been an obstacle? Has it been a benefit? And what?
Well, you know, it's funny. It's like I think people sometimes, like one of my first jokes that I do about pet value days, which is a joke about deciding at what price do I, terminate my cat, and people were coming up ready to punch me. Like people are like, I'm part of PETA. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's a joke, people. And a lot of people got really angry, but then I actually knew that like I had a topic because people were so energized about it. But I think sometimes people would get, yeah, I had people come up and approach me and just say, that's really rude. You shouldn't do that. I used to do a joke about dating my first cousin. And, my mom said that, we couldn't be together because, if you have kids, they'll be deformed. And I was like, Mom, he doesn't want kids either. Right. And then everybody's coming up and freaking out like, I can't believe you said it was he. And I'm like, oh my God, people, it's a joke. Lighten up. I only sleep with my second cousins. But, it's like people get a little worked up about it. But for me, I love the dark humor. I love the owning the places. I didn't used to. Like initially I was, oh, I don't want to say that. But, I even just jokes about like, when I let people in line and then like if I let a car in front of me and they don't wave thank you, how I will hunt them down, to stalk them and kill them, or at least slash their tires passively aggressively because they didn't thank me, because you have to thank people. Like I like to play into all that. That's for me, that's fun. And that's, I have a dark sense of humor. So,
Well, what's occurring to me now is that if somebody was delivering the jokes that didn't look like you, for instance,
right. Yeah.
because there's music in the comedy, the way we look, the way we sound,
Yeah.
these are notes only you can play,
Yeah.
and so when your music, the tempo and the music don't match, sometimes it can confuse the audience. They might
Yeah,
not
for sure.
just recognize that. And so, like, if someone say like Dave Chappelle or maybe Ari Shafir were delivering those jokes,
Yeah.
it would be it would be more acceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
So because it's so mild, really, when you say those jokes, it's really not that dark.
It's not that dark, but people are like, you're,
You're not
because
supposed to be the guy saying that. I can't deal with this right now, Bob.
that's right. You're supposed to like old people and puppies. What's going on here? You're evil. Yeah.
They
So
want to
there
hear
is a bit of that.
they want to hear Kathy Griffin humor from you. They want to hear pop cultural references,
That's right. That's right.
lighthearted. Yeah.
The Disney stuff. Yeah, I was told you do lots of Disney kind of stuff. I'm like, that's great for television, but
Who told you that? Like the agent?
just some comics and audience people like you shouldn't that's mean. I'm like, did you just see the three comics in front of me? Like, I mean, but yeah, I think so I do think it hurt me a little bit. I still like doing dark comedy. I don't want to give it up, but yeah, I keep trying to find ways to
Have a
just
different set ready or something like that.
yeah, just to be uh, digestible for the audience as the way that they see that I'm going. It's like if you're eating carrots, you want it to taste like carrots, not like
True.
Brussels sprouts. I don't know, but it's like yeah. So but I don't want like that's part of me is that dark humor.
Well,
So
right. It's always going to be there.
yeah,
That's a really interesting artistic thing is to go with what you are
yeah,
or to go against what you are, right?
yeah,
And you're kind of thinking kind of pragmatically and strategically, which will benefit me. Can I do this, right? Can I
yeah,
can I fly this plane upside down is kind of
yeah,
the thing. For me it was the opposite. I just I was like, this is who I am. I'm lazy. It's going to be too much work. It's going to
right,
be too much work to manufacture something for people and fake it. I might as well just do what I do. But also being not a little in a little bit different context, being this white guy in black comedy clubs and not being a white guy who I think black folks looking at me thinking I came from money and it took me years and years to kind of express that dissatisfaction and be funny. It took me 2 or 3 years to and I knew I was getting better at it when they put me on Fridays and Saturdays.
right.
Started putting me on Fridays and Saturdays, then I knew, oh, okay, they're putting me on the days where the club's packed and so
Not a lot of white people. Here's the thing: is I would say black clubs are a lot more honest. The audiences are a lot more honest. If they don't like you,
and if
you
they
know it.
love you, it's not a polite laughter. It's a violent, roaring.
Yeah.
So Did you play some of the black? They have black shows there at the store. What were some of the rooms you did?
Well, there were actually the club I used to go to, and for the moment, the name escapes me. It was over on Pico,
Yeah,
up a bit.
that's the Comedy Union.
Comedy Union. So I used to do that club quite a bit on Friday nights, and I loved doing that club. I was nervous the first couple times, but I think I wasn't arrogant. I wasn't, I sort of come in and I'm a little soft, gentle, and it worked out. I had a lot of fun nights over there.
Okay, no racial reference intended, but how did the dark humor of you? Did you do your dark humor in the black clubs?
Yeah. That
It
stuff
went
worked.
great.
Yeah, it all went. I actually, it's interesting. I actually did a set in the belly room one time, and there were a bunch of people. Like, it was really rambunctious, and these black guys started giving me shit and started wanting me to call them out and like use the N-word and do all this stuff. And I was like, no, audience. And they're just like, come on, dude, you're thinking it. We know what you are. You white racist guy. Say it. And in this moment, I turned around. I said, oh, you want me to say this? And then I just let off this tirade. They didn't expect me to say it. I didn't know I was going to say it. And I just like let all the stuff out. Man, I ran to my car so quick. They were ready to fucking murder me. And that was pretty crazy. But for the most part, they liked my humor. So nobody tried to kill me too much.
Up until that point.
Up until that point.
That's funny that they were engaging in such a complicated heckle.
Yeah, well, it was sort of crazy. And then,
was it around the time the Kramer? Was it around the?
I think it was a little bit before that, but I think it was a little bit before that, but that was still pretty edgy. I couldn't even believe that I said it. Like, but they were baiting me and saying, say this. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to say it. You're a pussy. Say it. I'm like, okay, here you go. I'm going to serve it on a platter. And man, did they fucking get
Man, Bob, I think that you got a quick reminder from the universe that this was not your territory.
No. And yeah, I mean, in the moment, it made sense. I don't know that I would do that again.
There was a comic whose name we won't mention because we don't want to give free publicity. I don't want to give free publicity to people I don't.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say I don't. The guy's not a decent guy, but he's got some. I think he's got some little mental illness, and he was especially very, very hard to be a comic. If you've never done stand-up before and you're white, you're going into a black club. That's a recipe for disaster. Like, start off, do your shit in front of your own people, and then one day maybe do somewhere else. But this guy started in these black clubs, and it's a famous LA hood story that he went in and he was having a bad set, and he referenced some woman in the audience as a bitch.
Oh, wow.
He said, you this bitch, or something like that. And I don't know what happened to him after the show, but she was ready to kill him. She had a knife in her purse.
Wow.
And I think she might have I don't know if she pulled it out while he was on stage. I got to get a little more information. I don't know if this guy is still in comedy.
Wow. you sort of got to know your audience. And if you're playing in a crowd that's not your people, have some awareness.
Oh, shit, man.
You
but
could
in
die.
This case, you got baited. They wanted.
I did.
They were looking for trouble.
Yeah, they were, and I gave it to them, but at my own peril, because I realized immediately.
Were you concerned the next couple times you came to the store? Like, were you like looking around? Like,
no. You know what? I mean, I think I made a joke is like, I know every exit in this building, so I can move a lot and I can run fast. So, I can fucking run. I may not fight, but I can freaking run. And I just, in that moment, that was a little scary that night. But I came back. I wasn't, it's funny. In some moments, I'm fearless, and in other moments, I'm terrified. I don't know if that's ever true for you, but
absolutely.
It's
and I never can understand why the fearlessness comes and the terror comes. Because I look at the terrified times, and I'm like, what was I afraid of? And then I look at the times I had courage, and I go, how the fuck did I muster that up? Right?
Yeah. It just appears, either one of them. So.
Did you ever play a Latin room, like a really rowdy Latin room?
At the club in the valley, I used to do a
Oh,
lot. I used to do a lot of Latin stuff, and at the time, I was working at a factory in near Downey, so I knew all of the areas. So I could joke with them about City of Industry and Downey and Firestone Boulevard and all these things. And they were like, "How does this freaking white boy know this shit?" It's because I worked in a factory and everybody was Latino except me. So,
funny. I used to do a stand-up show, stand-up Downey.
oh yeah,
Drive out there. There was a bowling alley, and the guy who ran the show at the bowling alley, it was a black show, but it was half Latin. The audience was always half Latino,
yeah,
always half black, half Latino. And it wasn't in the bowling alley. It was like a really nice A room,
yeah.
actually, in the middle of a bowling alley, a bar, completely. You couldn't hear any bowling. You couldn't. And I would go there. It was a Sunday night, and I would go there every Sunday. I would drive out there because they put me on,
Yeah.
right?
Stage time, stage time.
Stage time is stage time. So where are some of your favorite places beside the store? Where are some of your favorite places to perform?
Um, well, I love the store. I did love the club in the valley, and I did love Comedy Union. I like actually, and now that COVID's happened, it'll probably be a lot more of those. I like performing in some of these little coffee houses where there's just like 40, 50 people, maybe if you're lucky. Sometimes it's just 10 people, but like if you can make 10 people really laugh and stuff, like to me, that's actually a lot more intimate and fun. Although I'm not going to say I don't love being in front of a large crowd of people and getting tons of laughter. That's pretty cool. But I like the little coffee houses.
What
And I
let's
don't even know if any of them exist anymore since COVID.
well, I mean, I guess we'll find out in the next few months. Now there's a lot of outdoor stuff that's been going
Yeah,
on. There's a revolving place in Brentwood where you can, if you're it's funny, you have to like be on the Instagram page to find out where it's exactly taking place,
makes sense.
kind of every week. Crazy. Have you done any Zoom? Have you done any Zoom shows?
I honestly, I'd probably rather kill myself than to like it's a pretty even like those are painful. They're painful to watch and they're painful to do. For me, other people like Zoom is great. I I like either being with the crowd and they either love me or hate me, but I'm with them. I find Zoom painful.
Well, then on that note, I'm actually going to tag you when I put out, I have the woman, I did a Zoom show, and the woman who produced it is going to send me a copy of the Zoom show. And I'm going to tag you when I put it online, I'm going to tag you as that reference, because it goes in line what you just said with my Zoom experience.
Oh my God. Yeah, send it away. And then if I'm feeling really down, it might help me just make that decision.
But like the amateur comics who haven't been doing it very long, they really love them.
Yeah,
They really love them.
because they can add the laughs later. When you're not hearing the laughs, you can't go, well, they're not laughing. You can go, oh, it's just because I'm on Zoom. I can't hear them. I'll add them in.
That's great. That's vicious. That's savage. But if the truth, well, maybe, but the truth I think is because they don't have to. They don't have to contend with the audience. They don't have to contend with. If nobody's laughing, then everybody's just reciting their act, right? This is good for someone who's not used to getting laughs.
Well, that's probably true. It's painful for everybody else. I don't know. For me, I'd rather actually get some silence so that I can make adjustments.
But that's also, because you've been doing it for years. How long
Yeah.
have you been doing stand up?
So it's probably been 20 years. Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, so 2000, around 2000 you began.
Oh, no, I guess no. 1994.
Dude, you're getting coming on 30 years.
I know. I started when I was 6. So, I did the buffets and Chunky Cheese. Great audiences.
Oh, please. Your childhood is way before Chuck E. Cheese.
Probably. You were still in carriages with.
So you grew up in the South. Where exactly in the South?
I grew up in Tennessee. I grew up in Middle Tennessee, small town. When I was growing up, it was Clarksville, Tennessee, had about 29,000 people when I was a kid.
Is it anywhere near Johnson City?
It is a little bit. But it's actually it's about an hour from Nashville,
Okay.
and I used to drive through. I think I used to drive through Johnson City on my way to Memphis.
That's funny because I did a week in Johnson City, Tennessee
Oh my God!
in 2001, the year before I moved to LA. I did
Wow,
a week in Johnson City, Tennessee with a comedian named Michael Reed. May he rest in peace.
wow.
It was one of the most fun weeks I ever had.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I
Um,
didn't even know they had people in in Johnson, Tennessee. I mean, I know there's a few people,
I
but
think it's either a college town or a military town,
what,
one of those two.
I
But
forgot my
it was
Southern
another.
roots.
It
Shame on
was
me.
another. It was a week in a comedy club located in a hotel.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was like a higher grade Tribble run.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's always
And
good.
yeah, anyway, I had a ball. So
That's fun.
Tennessee holds a nice place. Is your family still there?
Yeah, most of it. Yeah,
So if you got some Tennessee gigs, you
I
could
could,
you could actually like draw a crowd.
probably I could bring out all my brother and sister wives, dads. We're all related. We're all
I did
related.
hook up with two sisters at the same time in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Okay, well that works. That makes sense. And they weren't even twins. They were just.
They were not twins. They didn't look that much alike. And I did one did leave her driver's license in my car.
Oh well, there
I
you
had a
go.
photo
See, we
too.
share that.
We share that. We do share that, except I had the easier story. I had the smoother path than
You
you.
had the exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
you had the Paul Giamatti and Sideways,
Yes, good
or the other
reference.
guy who has to go back.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah,
Well,
Tennessee, Tennessee.
well, brother, this has been awesome.
It's been great.
This hour flew by.
It's awesome.
We got through some like you shared some really intimate shit here, buddy.
I shared some stuff that I have not shared, so I had no idea I was going to share it. So
Well,
there you
that's why
go.
we call it the no idea zone, ladies.
No idea.
Perfect
No
segue.
idea.
Wow.
Perfect segue.
Share with everybody out there, the 27 devoted watchers who watch this, which is great to share. When you share shit that you don't want anyone to hear, share it on my podcast because
And then it'll just
nobody sees it.
and
So,
nobody sees it. There you go.
right. So share with us where we can find you. First of all, what are you doing? Are there any projects you're working on?
I've got. I'm working on. I just finished a couple of TV scripts that were getting pitched out right now by one of the persons that produced a bunch of stuff for Netflix. And I'm doing the Money You Should Ask podcast, and I'm looking forward to doing stage time when they open up the world.
Okay, is there a website? Is there a website?
You can find me at Bob Wheeler on Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff, or you can go to the Money Nerve, which is where a lot of my stuff is as well. Either place,
Moneynerve.com.
moneynerve.com. You can track me down.
Okay, and Money You Should Ask is his podcast. It's on YouTube, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And it can be downloaded audio or
Audio and video.
okay,
No.
great. And so, dude, thank you so much for coming on with me
Yeah, so appreciate it.
and
It's great.
passing the time. We're passing the time together, and I'm so privileged and honored that you shared some of those stories. So,
No, it was sort of fun. It was sort of good to like get them off my chest.
okay, well, we'll find out if he calls me up and texts me after and goes, "Hey, can you edit that shit out?"
Edit that shit out. Nah, leave it in. It's the truth.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for
All right,
coming
man.
on, and
Pleasure.
everybody, this is the No Idea Zone. We'll see you next week.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed whatever you saw on our channel today. Make sure to like, comment, and share everything you see here, and please hit that big red subscribe button. You have no idea how much it helps the No Idea Zone every time you hit that button. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next installment of the No Idea Zone.